Welcome to the Magic in the Midwest podcast, starring the super couple, J.B. Michaels and Ashley Michaels. Hello, everybody. Thank you, host. Thank you so much for that.
Wow, what an intro. Mm-hmm.
I know, it was great. I
wonder who that is.
I don't know. We rehired this new host.
Sounds familiar.
Sounds really good, in my opinion. Anyway, so I am USA Today best-selling author J.B. Michaels. And this is the Magic in the Midwest podcast number Club 33, everybody.
Ooh, that's all I want for Christmas. Just a
Club 33 membership?
Just a membership.
It's probably around $20,000 at this point.
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
it's a nice dinner club special place to go.
Mm-hmm. And then you still have to pay for everything, right? Yeah, that's just so you can walk in the door?
I think it's like your dinners are free. Your dinners are, not free. I mean, it's part of the membership. But
they're not free.
But you don't have to pay out of pocket. When you're there, you've already paid for it. It's like a country club type of thing.
But you probably get a certain amount. If you go over, it's probably...
Yeah, then you probably got to pay up,
Interesting. Maybe one day.
One day, yes. So
I like to be really snooty and walk into Club 33. Not that if you're a part of it, I don't think you're snooty.
No. I'm sure there's lots of great people that are part of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am USA Today bestselling author J.B. Michaels. I've written 14 books. At this point, that's a lot of books, 14 in 5 years. The latest one is The Festival of the Vine, a Mac and Millie mystery. That is 4 books in the Mac and Millie Mystery Cozy Murder Mystery series. So if you want, go ahead and check that out on Amazon. Or actually, a big announcement is that now the JB books are going to be available widely on different ebook platforms. I mean, they were always available widely, paperback-wise. But now you can get, if you're an Apple Books fan, JB's books are up there. If you're a Barnes & Noble Nook fan, they're up there as well. Kobo, all these different e-reader platforms for if you like to read books on Kindles or e-readers or whatever it is. Okay, and obviously the paperbacks are available on those options as well. So then, ladies and gentlemen... also, real quick, some housekeeping, get it out of the way.
Are you going to introduce me?
Yes, I was about to.
That's housekeeping?
Well, yeah, you're just kind of a task.
So, you get introduced, part of and then I'm list. Part of the housekeeping.
Yeah, yes. Let's be real. I mean, come on. No, Ashley, this is my more successful wife, Ashley.
That was a bad recovery.
I don't care.
Well, I'm here, everyone. Check it off your list.
Ash is here. Yes. No. And just real quick, again, if you need anything insurance-wise, I am also here. We do many different things, Ashley and I. But that is one of the things that I do. So if you need anything insurance-wise or just have a question about insurance, please.
Any kind of insurance.
Yeah, any kind of insurance, honestly. Reach out to us. Or reach out to me, Magic in the Midwest podcast at gmail.com. Or, just send us a message on Facebook and say, hey, you want to talk to JB about some insurance needs, home, auto, whatever it is you guys want. If you need anything quoted out, just let us know. Again, I'm with Wiedemann Insurance. It's a great company. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So today's podcast, we're heading back into Hollywood Studios, and we're going to talk about the 2 newest areas, the 2 newest lands in the Hollywood Studios, and that would be, of course, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land. Both, new... one of them opened in 2018 and one of them opened in 2019. So let's talk about these new lands that basically expanded, not really expanded. I mean, I think they did push out some of the park's borders with Galaxy's Edge. But yeah, so Ash, so full disclaimer, we have not been to Galaxy's Edge yet.
No, we were there, how many days? Like 8 days or
Yeah, like
before it opened, or
technically
maybe it was even
left,
less.
We left, and it was only about a week and a half until it
Right. I
opened.
remember we were in line for, what was that ride? Rock and Roller Coaster with that kid that worked at Disney.
Yeah.
And he was getting to go to like
He was
the
getting to go
early.
in,
He was
yeah.
going in like the next day for like the
cast
member
member day. Yeah,
open. So he was talking to us
cast
about
member
it.
preview.
Yes. So we were
Yeah.
we just missed it.
We do know several people that have gone and have been to Galaxy's Edge. Two of which were in the Disneyland version, and two that were the Walt Disney World version. As far as I know, they are identical. There's really no difference between them. They both have the same attractions. They both are Batuu. The only difference with the Disney World Galaxy's Edge is they're adding a Galactic Star Cruiser hotel. So there's going to be a Star Wars hotel
What's the timeline for
at
that?
Disney World. I think I would think it was supposed. I think that's still happening. So that's not delayed. I don't think.
Okay.
I think that was supposed to open in 2021 for the 50th. But we'll get into more in depth. So I think that's the major difference between the Disneyland version and the. But like when you're actually in the lands, there's not a lot of difference. All right, so Ash, how do you feel just in general? How do you feel just about Star Wars in general? What's your thoughts on
Like just
Star Wars?
Just Star Wars. You know what? I feel like it's something that I could really, really get into, possibly, but I haven't really. I wouldn't say had that opportunity, but the timing has never been super great. So
Okay.
we didn't really watch that, in my family. We weren't huge Star Wars people.
Right,
My
right.
parents weren't huge Star Wars people. And then you had me watch episode 4 when I was pregnant. And I was super uncomfortable.
Couldn't really.
And
yeah.
it just, no matter what I watched at that point,
Get
it
comfortable.
wouldn't have been
Right.
good. But since then, recently we've watched a few of the Star Wars movies, and I've really enjoyed them. Particularly, I like Rogue One,
Yes.
and
really good.
episode 5 is very, very good. I like that. But I think, one thing I appreciate is just the concept of I like the Star
mythology,
Wars world.
Yeah.
Like, I do like that, regardless of maybe liking a particular movie or not. I do always appreciate just a fully developed, world that you get behind.
Yes. yeah.
And Star Wars does do that for me. I really do like that.
Yeah,
So,
that-
I
yeah.
think, in an example of, I don't particularly love the, Pandora movie, whatever. Avatar. That was not something that I was super into, but I can tell you that yet again, here's an example of, a whole different world, basically, that you're stepping into, and I really appreciated that in Animal Kingdom.
Right.
It's really cool to step into something like that. Another example, of course, at Universal would be Harry Potter, the lands over there at Hogsmeade and Diagon Alley. I really love stuff like that. So whether it's something where I absolutely adore the movies or not, I always tend to like that type of attraction or land
Yeah.
or world, so I'm very, very excited to walk into it.
Yes. Me too.
You
me
know,
too.
sorry, that
Yeah.
was a little bit of a
No,
whatever,
that's good.
Yeah, and I don't draw a parallel for me between Avatar and Star Wars. I definitely like Star Wars more, just my personality, than Avatar.
I
The
think
movies.
most people do.
The movie, yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be, and it's just such a beloved, franchise that, I don't know, how can you go in there and not have fun? I'm not sure.
Right. That's true. Yeah, we've talked at length about Star Tours and how much we love Star Tours, and I just cannot. From what I could tell, I don't think we're prepared for what we're gonna experience when we finally do get to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I think it's going to be mind blowing, right? And there are some parallels, like you said, the Avatar area, Pandora area, and now Galaxy's Edge, both super detailed, and a ton of money and resources put into these areas, like just totally. I mean, yes, it's when Pandora first opened, people said really, Pandora itself is an attraction.
Yeah.
Like just being in the area is an attraction in and of itself. And of course, I think the same thing has been said about Galaxy's Edge, because I guess the level of detail and care that they put into these areas really does make you feel like you're in another. It does make you feel like you're in somewhere else. It doesn't make you. It really does feel different.
And I think that there's also a difference between Pandora and Galaxy's Edge, and then Toy Story Land. And the reason for that is Toy Story Land basically is the same world, right? Conceptually, we're just smaller.
Yeah.
Woody and Jessie and all them live in our world, so to speak.
Right.
So it's, while still really cool, and the fact that you're like supposed to be in Andy's backyard, and we'll get into all that. I think there's something really special about places like Pandora and Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah. I think they, it's just a whole lot of investment, which really, we'll talk about that in a minute. But so I guess I can talk about my Star Wars fandom. Okay, so I was born in 1981, so I was born after Empire Strikes Back had released, but then, right before Return of the Jedi, which was in '83. And I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Now, Star Wars is not like, I'm really into it and I love it, but it's not, it's something that I wouldn't say I'm like a super fan of Star Wars.
No, I don't think so.
I just really like it. I have all the movies. I've read it. I've read a ton of Star Wars books. I love the world. I do love it. Like Ash, you said, like you love the universe, you love the lore, the characters.
Yeah.
Right? That kind of, of course I absolutely love the films. I really enjoyed the last film, which people did not, Rise of Skywalker, but I thought it was really good. I've also, Empire Strikes Back is definitely my favorite out of all of them. Obviously, the Millennium Falcon is my favorite ship, and I'm so excited to actually be able to pilot and get on the Millennium Falcon, which we haven't been able to do yet, which, they've literally built out a replica of the Millennium Falcon. It's docked at Batuu. So, I'm just so pumped to actually see that. And that was one of the big pushes from the PR team, was like how emotional people were getting when they walked into the area and they saw the Millennium Falcon. They're just like, whoa, wow. Here it is. It's the Millennium Falcon. That's like the castle of Galaxy's Edge.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Is the Falcon. So really pumped to actually finally be able to do that. So I've been a Star Wars fan for my whole life. I love it. I love the video games. I love, the some of the books, not all the books. There's a ton of books. But yeah, definitely a fan. Love The Mandalorian and what's been going on with that. So, we basically just have, we have a pretty, we're excited for it because we, are obviously
and Harrison loves it. Harrison loves Star Wars. He loves Stormtroopers.
Oh my gosh, his favorite.
Darth Vader.
He loves the bad guys.
He does. He loves the bad guys. So there's that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I love a lot of the characters like C3PO and R2D2.
Yeah.
Super funny.
Yeah.
I'm a big Han Solo fan.
Yep, it's wonderful. I actually went for the first time. I went to a Star Wars Star Wars celebration, and that was really neat.
How long ago was that now?
That was a couple of years ago already.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was really great. Got to see Professor Flitwick, from Harry Potter, and Wicket from
Right.
the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi. And, Willow, he was really great. He was really funny and fantastic. And it was a really good, a great experience. So let's just dig right into it. So Disney, when they acquired Star Wars, I think it was like 2012 when Lucas sold Star Wars to them,
Okay.
I thought. Or a little bit before that. Well, then, not soon after, they bought Star Wars for $4 billion from George Lucas. They immediately set forth their plan on how to make their money back, and they cranked out, the trilogy's already over. Like, they made 3 movies already.
Right.
To varying degrees of success. You loved Rogue One. They made Rogue One. I love Rogue One. Really a really good movie. They made Solo, a Star Wars story. And one of their big announcements, Bob Iger came out, and he said that he announced Galaxy's Edge. And it was huge. Everybody went nuts, right? We knew there was going to be something happening in the parks, okay, with Star Wars. Something more than just Star Wars. And, of course, we get this huge, I think it's 14-acre expansion of Disneyland in California and Hollywood Studios in Disney World, dedicated to Star Wars. And it's called Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but the planet you're on is called Batuu. And it's just supposed to be what's neat. It's not an established planet in Star Wars lore. It's a new planet, and I think they kind of wanted. I feel like they wanted to make it their own, rather than having it be something that people could criticize because it already exists. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So yeah. So anyway, so here's the weird thing about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge: the crowd anticipation. Dude, this is the world we live in, with social media and with everything. The crowd situation was rumored to be so bad that people weren't going to Galaxy's Edge. Nobody was going to the parks at all.
Because they were just trying to avoid it.
Yeah.
Because they thought it'd be so bad.
Right. And Disney also, I think, maybe shouldn't have done what they did. They opened it early with just one ride.
Yeah.
And I think that was probably more the case.
You think about it, people would rather, if they know it's going to be so crowded, well, I want to wait to deal with the crowds. Hold on. Wait to deal with the crowds until, both rides are available. Why go and fight the crowds and only have one ride? Right.
Yeah. So that was an interesting choice. I think they were so excited, I guess, to get the park opened, that they opened both parks. They opened both parks with just Galaxy's Edge. With just Galaxy's Edge. So that was just kind of with just Smuggler's Run and no Rise of the Resistance. Well, everyone knew who's a Disney fan, that Smuggler's Run was going to be good, and people were excited about it because you get to pilot and board the Millennium Falcon, and just have just a great time. But then you have the marquee attraction, though. The number one attraction, which was Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, which was supposed to be the mind-blowing jewel in the crown of Disney Imagineering, that was delayed and wasn't open yet. So, they opened Galaxy's Edge 3 or 4 months before, Rise of the Resistance, and in Disneyland's case, they opened it 6 months before. So you had this big lag. So people were like, why would we spend all this money to go to Galaxy's Edge and go to Disney if the biggest ride is not open yet? So I think that was maybe a reason why people were going.
Yeah.
It was oh, there's nobody here. There's nobody here. It was really bizarre. And it just goes to show you the hype factor, the misinformation. Also, I just think they just didn't do. They should have done They should have opened everything at once. But then if they did that, maybe they were worried about it being overcrowded. Or
Yeah, I think maybe they wanted to get a handle on seeing like the reservation system or how it was going to work to get in there
Right,
before it
right.
was super crazy. So I do get it, but I'll admit I was part of that group that was like, honestly, I was
Why would
kind
I-
of glad
Yeah.
that it wasn't open when we were going, because I was like, we would likely spend a day or two trying to get in there and obsessing and waking up super early and then not knowing if we could get on a ride, or I was like, in a way, it kind of took that off our plate.
well, Disney,
what? We don't need to worry about it.
Disney actually learned, I think Disney learned from Universal in a way. Universal opened up Diagon Alley and Escape from Gringotts, and there were literally 450-minute long lines for Escape from Gringotts when it first opened. And
Yikes.
people were waiting all day to get on Escape from Gringotts in Diagon Alley. And
Yeah.
I think when you open up a big immersive land like this, I think maybe that was what they were worried about. They were worried about just a crunch in that area and, handling it and, that reservation system and all of these things. I think you're right. They needed to maybe throttle it. So maybe it's good that they did that. I don't know. But anyway, the main draw of the first ride, the one that they opened with, was Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which is a simulation, sort of like Star Tours, except that it's interactive. So 6 people are in your Millennium Falcon, and each pair has a task to do. There's a pilot, a gunner, and a navigator or something. Yeah, so it was kind of cool. Nvidia, who makes graphics cards for PC, made the game basically, or made not the game, but they made the ride. So basically, it's running off of these crazy graphics cards, and to make it seem real that you're really flying, and technically you could fail at the ride. You could screw up, and things could affect the impact of your ride. So it's kind of cool. You could go in there and do better. You could go in there and have a better experience. You go in there and do better, and have a different. It seems kind of neat.
Well, my question is, I know a lot of people were kind of complaining about this, but how would it be? So, let's say you, Harrison, and I went on, and we're obviously with 3 other people, and he, doesn't fully understand as a 5-year-old how to do everything.
Right.
Does that ruin the experience for those other 3 people we don't know?
I don't know. I think they've kind of nerfed that a little bit. I think it can. I'm sure it can.
But
it's like
he
you
should be able to go on. He's
Right.
well over the
no.
height requirement, so I didn't know how that worked.
No, I think it's fine.
Because I think that was a complaint in the beginning. People
Right.
that were trying to achieve some sort of something and then get paired with a family
right.
with
right.
a kid. So, yeah, look at that.
So the one of the main draws of the Smuggler's Run, I think, is the Millennium Falcon. The fact that they built the area, the cockpit, obviously, and they built the area where the lounge area where they have the table with the chest, the hollow chests, and all that stuff. So that's kind of neat. People just kind of get in there and you're just like, oh my gosh, we're in the Millennium Falcon. It's something that when you're a kid you wanted to do always. So I think they effectively. So people have liked it. People have said it's a good ride. They were blown away by it, but they've said it was good.
Good.
And then, of course, we've got the Galaxy's Edge Jewel, the Disney Jewel. They say it's the most epic attraction they've ever built, and that is Rise of the Resistance, which we have never been on, but apparently it is a incredible experience. It's 15 minutes long, and it's. From what I understand, and we're not going to give away any spoilers or anything, but from what I understand, it's a combination of dark ride elements, some thrills, special effects, practical effects, digital effects. It's supposed to be just incredible. There's, a bunch of stormtroopers. There's, AT-ATs, fully built AT-AT walkers that you go through in this one hangar. It's supposed to be
Amazing.
mind blowing. So I can't wait. I can't believe that I've not been on this ride yet. But
I know. It's
and
gonna be great.
we're Disney podcasters, so we haven't been on the ride yet.
Well, we just haven't been able to go back because
Yeah.
of everything. You know, we missed it by a few days, and then, you know, obviously the next time we would have gone would have been this summer,
Yeah,
which we didn't.
which
you
was
know.
crazy. But apparently, it is supposed to just be an incredible experience.
I'm very
from start
excited.
to
I
finish.
think Harrison will love it. I will love
Yeah.
it. It's just going to be great.
Yep. And then, of course, you know, the Galaxy's Edge, there's dining, obviously. There's cool Cokes that looked like thermal detonators, like, you know, grenades. And the Cokes have their own Star Wars lettering, like language on it, which is really kind of neat. So you could go into Oga's Cantina, where you could just have exotic beverages and some snacks and beer. And
Is
you
that
know.
what the blue milk situation is?
I think you can get blue milk there. Yeah, you can get blue milk outside of that too. It's
Oh,
not
okay,
just
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
You can get, but you get like alcohol at Oga's Cantina. It's like the bar.
Got it.
And Rex, the original host of Star Tours, acts as a DJ. So it's kind of a cool, thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could go in there,
Well-
and I think I don't think we can. I think we need to realize that all of these areas are, incredibly detailed. There's multiple like animatronics in each of these areas that we're talking about, and you're supposed to feel like you're on another planet. So. And then you have Docking Bay 7, which is the food cargo area, which I think is just more like a quick service place where you could get some ribs and, some cool desserts. And, there's, I just think that's kind of a neat place. It's one of the bigger quick service options. Then you have Ronto Roasters, which is cool because it actually has like a pod racer engine that is cooking the meat. So there's this engine from this like pod racer from Star Wars that is like supposedly, cooking the meat that you're eating. And apparently the Ronto wrap is supposed to be, has like roasted pork and grilled sausage inside of it. And it's supposed to be the most incredible.
We've heard really good things
I've
about
heard
it.
really good things.
People
Yeah.
wanting to go get a Ronto wrap. I'm very excited about that too.
Yes.
I'm all
yes.
about the food. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
yeah.
but we've heard multiple
People were like, "Oh my gosh, the
yeah.
Ronto wrap is amazing."
vloggers and stuff talk about the Ronto wrap. So
Yeah, people were very excited about that. I'm excited about that. I would like to try that as well. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the blue milk, green milk. People don't seem super thrilled with those. It's interesting. It was supposed to be like their butterbeer, in the
I
area.
just think the idea of something being like super milk based in Florida.
Well, it's not actually milk. It's
What
not
is
milk-based.
it?
It's like plant-based, but it's just called blue milk. It's a non-dairy drink. It's
Yeah,
not dairy.
interesting.
Yeah, it's not
But still, I
actual
feel
milk.
like that type of thing feels like heavier in the general, climate. in
Right.
Florida, I feel like most people have said like, it just felt like heavy
Yeah.
in my stomach, kind of. Like I
Yes.
just, you kind of want something more refreshing.
Yeah.
Then,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, kind of you're right. I think it's the density of it, right? It's just more dense. Then of course the shopping in the area is the Droid Depot, which is really cute. You get to build your own droid. And have your droid will have its own personality. Because you could have a personality chip inside the droid, which I think is really cool.
That is cool.
Like, I mean, that's really neat. So you can build your own droid at the Droid Depot. And then, of course, you've got Savi's Workshop, which is a whole experience unto itself, where there's a show sort of like Ollivander's at Harry Potter,
Okay.
at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. You can build your own lightsaber. And apparently there's a experience that's built into that as well. You build your own, it's $200 to build your own lightsaber.
Isn't it 200 like to start? And it could be more?
I think it's
Or is it just
no. I
200?
think it's the standard 200. And then, so then you have like this whole initiation ceremony with your lightsaber, and it's supposed to be really cool.
Yeah, sounds cool.
An experience. Okay. And then there's Doc Ondar's Den of Antiquities, which has a lot of Easter eggs inside of it. I think the Ark from Raiders of the Lost Ark is inside here.
Oh.
Somewhere, yes. So lots of cool little Easter eggs. Then there's the creature stall where you could get a bunch of, plush aliens and animals and all this stuff. So
Cool.
Lots of great stuff there in Galaxy's Edge, which we're really excited about. So
Very.
I wish we could talk more about it. But
Yeah,
really,
well, we will. We'll do a follow-up segment when we finally can go.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's the first thing on our list when we get there. When we go back, we will make that a priority, right?
Oh, yeah.
And man, I'm super pumped for it. And then, of course, we have Toy Story Land, which we spoke upon briefly in the past. Ash just talked about it, which is actually one of the it's sort of a gateway area to Galaxy's Edge. You could get to Galaxy's Edge through Toy Story Land.
Right.
And Toy Story Land, there was one built in Hong Kong Disneyland. That was the first one.
Oh, I didn't know that, actually.
Yes, yeah. There was when Hong Kong Disneyland opened, it opened with a Toy Story Land. So they decided, it's Toy Story's a mega blockbuster franchise, so we're going to put that in the park, and they did. So, what are your thoughts on Toy Story Land, Ash?
You know what? I really love the concept. I think that the way they tackled it, being for those of you that haven't been there or know a lot about it, you're basically supposed to feel like you're one of the toys, like the size of one of the toys in the backyard. And so Woody and Buzz are kind of bigger than you, actually.
Yeah.
And it's cool to walk around in there and see things to a completely different scale. That being said, I do think it feels small, which not that everything has to be, big. It kind of feels cramped because it's just sort of like a walkway. It's just sort of like a straight shot down, kind of right? It is.
Yeah, there's no like
turns or like little
there's
things
like a
where you
gateway
go off, but it's sort of just like a
I mean there is a little bit of
a little
elevation to it,
but
small,
it's very sunny. There's not a lot of shade in that area, and basically it's Slinky Dog and then Alien Swirling Saucers
and
then
Toy Story Midway
Toy Story
Mania.
Mania. Now you enter from Toy Story Land. But I mean, it's really cool. I just feel like it's definitely, and I can't compare it to Galaxy's Edge in terms of crowds, but every time we've been in there, it's been super crowded. Just totally crowded.
One weird thing. Here's the thing I noticed about
more than Disney crowded, like crowded.
Yeah, Toy Story Land to me feels like Toy Story Lane. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah. It's not a built out like
land.
I mean, I almost wouldn't even call it a land.
Because even like a lot of yes, lane, because the attraction, while like if you looked from an aerial perspective, right, straight down, the land might not look like that, but that's because the rides are taking up certain parts of
the sides.
So like the part that you can actually walk through is
it's
like
just
a lane.
a straight shot.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. It's a weird. Yeah. It's a cool. I like the concept. Right. You're like you said. You're tiny. You're smaller than Buzz and Woody and Jessie and Rex.
You know what? I would really love to go at night. I feel like during the day you really feel the heat because of the way it's designed. And because it's so crowded, and because there's really two things to do there. I'll tell you this, though. As much as I love Toy Story, and I love Slinky Dog, we've only been on it once. Harrison was 3 and had no head control on the ride. And I don't feel like waiting for, just from what I've seen, from what Alien Swirling Saucers is, that I would wait 60 minutes for that ride. It's just not a ride I would wait 60 minutes for. That if we were in Disney and did not go to Toy Story Land, I would not be upset.
Okay.
I don't have to go every time we're there. Our experience in Toy Story Land has never been phenomenal.
No.
It just hasn't been. So I feel like there's
wanna
a
go
lot
at-
to look
I
at,
wanna
but
go
there's
at
really
night.
not. That's what
I
I'm
wanna go at
saying.
night.
I think going
Yeah.
at night would be better because the sun is down, and I know they have those lights, those like string lights that are strung up.
Yeah.
And I think the Slinky Dog would be a really cool ride at night. Yes, I agree. I almost would recommend
Go there at
going
night.
at night
Yeah,
because they
because
also
less-
have like this Woody's Lunchbox area, this like quick service, right?
Yeah,
That's
it's got grilled
small.
cheese, but it's small.
And
Yeah.
a lot of people go for these like Pop-Tarts that they
They're so
have,
good.
which is, I thought they were okay.
I liked it a lot.
I thought they tasted exactly like regular Pop-Tarts.
Right.
But so, I mean, if you want to deal with crowds for Pop-Tarts, you can.
Well,
I don't
well-
think it's worth the extra trip, as we were forced
Oh
to
no
find out.
no. Okay, we
Whoa,
did we
that's my
we that is
opinion.
not an extra trip. We did mobile order. It took 2 minutes to get our thing. It wasn't like
Yeah,
we
but then
took
there
an
was
extra.
nowhere to sit, so we were just standing there beating down in the sun. But now we have Pop-Tarts, guys, so it's totally worth it.
It was my
And
breakfast.
It was fine. But I'm just saying now, if we were to walk in there and you wanted to walk all the way back to Toy Story Land just to get Pop-Tarts, I would say I'll meet you back here.
Right.
Just because they don't. I mean, it would be different if you could sit there and relax and eat it, but it was nuts over there.
So Ash is not a fan of Toy Story Land.
No, I am. I just think in the morning it's chaotic because that's when a lot of people are there. Throughout the day it's chaotic. And I feel like it's probably really busy at night, but it's, I'm assuming a little bit easier to deal with at
Yeah.
that time.
Well, Woody's Lunchbox, I will say this to you. It will no longer be the only dining option in Toy Story Land. Disney did announce a table service restaurant for Toy Story Land.
Okay, wait, I have a question now. Not about that. Do you think that, I mean, it's hard to say now because of everything going on, but when things start to go back to normal-ish, whenever that is, do you think that Toy Story Land will be less crowded, that most people will be sort of walking through to go to Galaxy's Edge,
No.
or no, just as
No,
crowded?
it's going to be crowded.
Well,
Nice.
crowded, but as crowded? Because that morning when we were waiting for the Pop-Tarts, I wanted to just die.
I think
It was
I think
horrible.
Toy Story Land is going to be eminently popular forever. I think
Yeah.
it's just going to be jam packed.
Yeah, but there's a difference between popular, like, Pandora used to have, or like Flight of Passage used to have, like, way longer waits than it does now.
If you don't get your reservation for Rise of Resistance, where are you going to go next? You're probably going to go to Slinky Dog Dash, is my guess. Like, I feel like
See, but
people...
I'll tell you this. Would I wait 90 minutes during the day for Slinky Dog? No. Would I at night? Sure.
All right, I think people empty out of Galaxy's Edge right into Toy Story Land. I think that area of the park is just the most jammed.
Name an area of that park that won't be jammed. It's all jammed.
Well, I don't think, I'll be honest,
Like
the
the Muppets
animation courtyard won't be that
yeah, but
jammed.
I don't even think... Yeah, but how long can you hang out there?
And Sunset Boulevard is not as popular as it once was.
Yeah, but it's still crowded. Tower of Terror is still crowded. So is Rock and Roller Coaster.
There's
no
still
way
good
you can
crowds, but
say
I
that-
think the
lines are just as long.
the center of gravity is Galaxy's Edge Toy Story Land.
I don't know. I don't know if this park has a center of gravity.
Okay. That's good points. It's interesting. We'll have to see how we feel next time we're
Well,
there.
and that's something to note too. It's not just about wait times because honestly, we didn't really wait that long for Slinky Dog. It was only 60 minutes, but it felt
Longer, yeah.
And some rides that's not the case.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
just depends.
So Toy Story Land, I mean, I get what you're saying, Ash. And Slinky Dog was like a kind of a bought off the shelf coaster, right?
I think
Which is-
I
it's
think
good,
yes,
but-
but I also think it has a little something to add. I think it has some cute
I love it.
things.
I think the
I don't think
ride's
it's
great.
like cookie cutter by any means. I think it has a little bit of something.
I think Slinky Dog Dash is a very quality roller coaster.
I need to go on it again because I was really just concerned about Harrison's head falling
Right.
off.
Yeah.
But you guys, you can tell by the way we're both talking about it. Like, JB is totally fine walking through like a 10 out of 10 crowd. Like, that's how it feels. If the most crowded day is a 10, where you can't walk through people to go get Pop-Tarts and figure it out, where I'm just like, nope.
Let me put
And neither of us is wrong. That's just how we're different.
Let me put it to you this way. The reason why they have a table service restaurant is because this land is super popular and they need more places to put people in it. So they're going to they.
Oh, I'm not
You're
arguing
going to
that
be
it should be
no.
there.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just telling you, they wouldn't have put a table service restaurant in this area of the park. You know what I mean? I think it's going to help. I don't know
No,
if
I
it's
think
going
there
to make
definitely
it
needs to be
worse.
dining, whether they think it's going to be popular or not. There needs to be dining throughout the park. It makes sense for it to be there. I'm just saying in terms of, I'm not saying it shouldn't be there. I just think that, I'm glad they're adding something else because really this is so crowded. They need a place for people to go.
Right. Yes, and that's exactly what I think they're thinking is.
My point was, though, is that we get there, it's somewhere for people to go, and yet there was literally every single
Okay,
table
that
was
day-
jammed,
that-
and people were standing around eating.
Well, that morning was particularly we've talked about this in the past. That morning we got a message to our app, the My Disney Experience app, saying we're sorry about the crowds. Basically,
I think they had like a special
They-
event
they-
actually for Toy Story Land or something that we didn't know about.
Yeah, they did. They so I think we're a little. I feel like we're a little skewed because our main experience last time and the time last time there was nothing when we went the first time. We've been there twice. When we the first time to Toy Story Land, there was nothing else to do in that park but Toy Story Land.
Yeah, and we had been like waiting around for hours
There was
already.
that was when Studios was in a pretty bad rough shape. There was no
And to be fair, we only did wait for Slinky Dog that time, 60
Right,
minutes,
right.
but it was just beating down.
right.
sun.
So then the next time too, we just had kind of I think both times we sort of had just bad crowd experiences.
I totally think that's a factor.
Yeah. So
Totally.
so because that the next time was when we got that message and there was like you said, Ashley, I think there was
I would love to go in at like 5:00.
Right.
Do our second half of the day at Hollywood
Galaxy's
Studios
Edge
and do,
yeah.
or like go into Galaxy's Edge. Maybe we can go in there for part of the day and then walk out
Yeah.
and do Toy Story Land at night. I think that would be my next move.
Yeah. So the table service restaurant they've announced is called the Roundup Rodeo Barbecue, and apparently it's going to have cardboard boxes cut and taped together that Andy basically created, right? Because remember, you're in Andy's backyard, so the theming is consistent, which I like.
Where will it be?
I'm really not sure
there's room.
where they have it. I'm sure there is a pad of an area expansion pad that I
Okay.
think they're going to put it on. It says this immersive restaurant will surround guests with a kaleidoscope of toys, games, and play sets, providing yet another unique, fun, family-friendly dining experience that only can be had in Toy Story Land. So, I like this. I think that this will help alleviate some of your frustration with the land. And if the food's good and it's a really cool experience inside there, I would love to do
I think
it.
I need to rephrase though. I'm not saying I'm against like grabbing Pop-Tarts, but I'm saying if we were going to go in and our first ride was going to be Rock and Roller Coaster, I wouldn't want to go, like I wouldn't opt to say, okay, let's go grab Pop-Tarts.
No, you're kind of going out of the
and
way.
walk back over
Right,
here because the
right.
experience is kind of, annoying.
Well, and one thing to think about too, you see the Green Army men. Well, I think we're all supposed to be
The size of
the
them.
same size as the Green Army.
So we're like smaller toys.
Yes.
That's why Woody
is so big in
yeah,
the
Buzz.
entranceway.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, they're so big because that's their actual size. Then there's cool merchandise and things like that. So, Ash, what do you think about Slinky Dog? I know you said you were holding Harrison's head up, but what do you think about the ride?
I definitely think it's a ride without ever being on it at night that is elevated at night.
Yeah, the lighting.
But like
the
JB
Christmas
said,
lights.
I don't think it's some, mind-blowingly unique ride, but I think it's cute. I think it's, from what I remember, where would you rate it in terms of roller coaster? Like more intense than Seven Dwarfs or less?
I think it's between Big Thunder and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I think
Okay,
it has.
yeah.
I think it's like right in the middle of
It
those.
does. So if you have kids that are, kind of looking to go on their first coaster that are, I would say maybe closer to 5.
Yeah.
This is a good one to do. It was pretty smooth, but I mean, it definitely has some dips and, a launch that's, a little bit more not super intense, but I mean, I thought it was cute. I would really like to do it again.
Oh yeah, it has two launches. It has another launch in the middle of the.
And I mean, the fact that you're on, Slinky Dog is just, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, it is. I definitely loved Slinky Dog Dash. I think it's a really good.
I just think it's
coaster.
like, it's sweet. It's Toy Story. Who doesn't love Toy Story?
And Slinky Dog, the character was awesome. And then good old Ernest. Mr. Ernest.
Yeah.
But then you have Alien Swirling Saucers, which is literally just like a.
What would you call that? What kind of ride is that?
I mean, it's sort of like the teacups.
Teacups. Yeah.
It's sort of like the teacups,
But really,
but with alien swirling saucers.
Yeah.
Fun, but this area is the most amusement parkish of all of the areas in the park. You know what I mean?
True.
Like an amusement park. I get it. I mean, I understand.
Because really, without the decoration around Slinky Dog and without the train car being Slinky Dog, it's kind of a straightforward
amusement park type of
roller
deal,
coaster,
which is fine.
Which is fine. But
literally they bought it from like a roller coaster company.
Yeah,
they didn't. It wasn't like they.
And it's more about the stuff around it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then of course there's Toy Story Mania, which has been around for many, many years. Which is sort of like Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin, kind of a game, it's a dark ride with games, like 3D games that you use to shoot stuff at the screens. And
it's fun.
It's fun. Forever, it would be a super long line.
I have no idea. There are certain lines where I just don't understand why they're so long, and that's one of them for me.
Yeah.
Why is it so long?
I don't know.
I mean, it's cute. I guess kids really love it. I thought it was cute, but and maybe I was hyper aware of this because we were there with my parents when we went on this ride. And that was the first time I ever was on that ride. It was the last time. And really when, my dad had just had hip surgery. So JB and I were super hyper aware of any ride that would sort of jerk you around.
Side to side, yeah.
How fast we were walking. And that impacted everything from going to get Pop-Tarts and feeling like there was no place for my dad to sit. So that's all part of our experience too. And I think it's important to note that. But I really noticed on Toy Story Mania that like when you would flip to the next side, like it really... like you really kind of get slammed into the side of the thing, which I didn't really mind, but I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we were worried
Dad, brace yourself.
Yeah, we were a little worried. It's fun. It's, that's kind of more unique, I guess, but even that's sort of like a carnival game type of ride.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the most mind-boggling, right? But like Harrison loved it.
So I think Toy Story Land is... I'm glad it's there. I'm actually excited that they are going to have a table service over there. I think that will, help matters, hopefully. And, with crowd, control and all that stuff. But, it's cool. So overall, how would you rate Toy Story Land? And then we'll wrap it up.
I would give it like a 7.
It's good.
It's good. I think the sun is a problem. I think the rides are cute. It's more of like a lane.
Yeah. It is more of a lane. It is.
But, I think they did a really good job of like walking in there is just really neat because you just feel like you're part of it.
Yeah.
You're a toy, and it's the scale change is maybe the coolest part.
Yeah. And I think too the nostalgia factor, like they do, like the toys are branded toys that you may have played with when you were a kid, and like our parents played with when they were kids.
I think you just feel like I just feel like Toy Story for me is the most heartwarming of all of the Pixar's, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's the first one, and they're all so good. And I don't think of them as being that old. Actually, like the first one, I don't think of it being that old as it is.
Yeah.
Like I think it came out 5 years ago. But it just makes me feel all the warm fuzzies to be, near Toy Story.
I agree.
Stuff.
I agree. Yeah.
I think it could use some...
Maybe that table service will help your matters. Maybe it'll help
my matters.
Your help matters for you, not my matters.
My matters.
My matters. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. But I think it's funny. We really legit did have kind of issues when the both times we were there.
And I know that I don't think they were regular experiences. It was just sort of, we had a rough morning the one morning, and then it was like the hottest part of the day when we were in there waiting. And then the Pop-Tart thing was we really weren't staying. We were just kind of getting that and then leaving, and it was just so crowded. And we were in there at Rope Drop.
Yeah.
And it was nuts.
Yeah. So I would give Toy Story Land probably a 7 as well. You know,
there are some things I feel like are like a 9 or 10, and then other parts that are like, I think the attractions like Alien Swirling Saucers, to me, just another teacup ride. And while that's fine, you know, that's really all it is. And like, you know, I'm not going to wait 75 minutes.
I would give Slinky Dog an 8.
I think Slinky Dog is good.
I think it's really
the
good.
decor and the scale that they did is also really cool. Like the concepts are really neat.
Yeah.
But it's how it feels in there.
Yeah.
It's just like, you're like, oh my gosh.
It's kind of interesting too. Like this, it's still, I would still say it's immersive in some ways. But when you compare this land to Pandora and Galaxy's Edge, it's not a comparison. Like they're so much more detail put into those other lands.
You know what I think though too?
Still a lot of detail.
You know, I know we're kind of going over on time here, but when I walk into Pandora, like I can't speak to Galaxy's Edge yet, but I can tell from videos we've watched that it be like Toy Story being a lane, like an actual lane.
Yeah, I think takes away from it.
Because you could see straight down and you can kind of, you know, it feels like a road. You know, that you can look down, where when you're in Pandora, there's all these like little turns here and there and places to
elevation
explore.
Differences.
Yeah, so you're kind of just, you know, more in it versus just like looking down like a straight shot. I don't know.
No, I think that's really an interesting point, and I think it makes complete sense. But yes, so that was our talk of Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land, ladies and gentlemen. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you guys download the podcast, Deezer, whatever it is. Thank you so much to our Bandcamp subscribers. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can support the podcast by going to Magic in the Midwest podcast.bandcamp.com. For as little as $3 a month, you can help support us and the podcast and creating great content, we hope, for you guys. And
what do you get in return?
We get in return, we get all of the Bandcamp exclusive episodes,
which we do once per regular episode.
Right,
so
right.
Basically twice the amount plus any of the back episodes we've already posted, which is quite a few, like 30 something. And we should say what the Bandcamp exclusive is going to be for this week.
Yes, today, this week, we are going to be talking our top 3 pools. Mm-hmm. Top 3 Disney resort pools.
Not just pools in the world. Disney pools.
Top 3 Disney resort pools.
Not our friend's pool.
No. That would be weird. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Cool pool. From the Midwest. See you later.